Well, let's talk specifically about that. You were vice chair of public education last time. You might want to be chair of public education, you acknowledge this time. What would you do about it? What are you prepared to do to change the dynamic that you just described, specifically?
Well, first of all, I think Florence Shapiro has done an outstanding job as chairman, and I've learned a lot sitting at her elbow.
So you would do very much as she did?
I would continue on the same path. We have to hold our schools accountable and make sure our students are prepared for career and college, but we all have a different approach and different style. Number one, it'd be a clear vision that everything we would do in education benefits. If it's not good for the student, we don't do it. There's too much talk in education about adults, how the principals feel, how the teachers feel, how's the superintendent feel, how's the PTA feel. It's about the students and their ability to be prepared to achieve the Texas and American dream.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Here's what it means. It means, number one, not everyone should have the option to go to college, but not everyone should be tracked to go to a four-year university. Part of our dropout rate is because a lot of students who are very bright and have a lot of skills and a lot of talent get to a physics course or some exam or some class that knocks them out. We need to value what I call blue-collar work. My dad was a truck driver. My dad didn't have a high school education. My dad joined the Marines in World War II like the great generation, and my dad turned out to be a successful business person, worked his way up in management. The great generation that we talk about, not many of them had a college degree. There are a lot of people coming out of University of Texas this month with $100,000 in debt, and they can't get a job, and if they could get a job, it will pay less than a lot of jobs that are open today. I met with Tom Hawken this week about this issue. There are thousands and thousands upon jobs waiting for people with a little bit of training. Companies are willing to do it. So one of the things that I want to put a focus on, if you want to go to college, man, go for it. But there are other things that we can do. Secondly, we have to start looking at some bold ideas. For example, the idea that our education system still works on a first grade, second grade, third grade, everybody starts at Labor Day and everybody finishes at Memorial Day and we're all going to get there at the same time, it's just not real. It's the only thing in technology, it's the only thing in our world today that operates like Henry Ford did on the assembly line. Every child who starts the first grade or the fifth grade or the eighth grade doesn't start at the same place. All kind of barriers at home potentially. Maybe there's no laptop computer. Maybe there's no one that speaks English. Maybe there's no one with even a high school education. Maybe there's stress in the family. Who knows? And maybe there are other children who have two parents who are college educated and they started reading when they were 2. And to think we're all going to put them on the starting line at the starting blocks at the same time and say, go. And some kids we're going to hold back because they can really run, and other kids are going to say, sorry, you failed. So maybe we need to, I'm really talking about turning things upside down and looking at things new.
This does sound like a more significant effort to upturn things than was the case previously. I
met with Jeb Bush. He was in town a few weeks ago. We did an education seminar together. And I'm fired up on this issue. Okay. He fired me up to a new level. And he was kind enough to give me a cell phone number. We've talked several times. I'm chairing the subcommittee on charters and vouchers. Yeah. And if he cannot come in, he's going to send some of his team in, Bobby Jindal's team in. They're doing some great things in Florida and Louisiana. Texas ought to be the leader on these issues.
Why hasn't it been the leader?
Let me give you one other idea. Yeah. One other thing that I want to consider, and some of these wouldn't happen with legislation overnight, but we need to begin. Remember, 28 years, 14 sessions, 28 months. Back in 2003, there was a consideration of cutting 12th grade because of the budget. We have to look at what is the value of 12th grade. For some kids, they're ready to move on. They're ready to go to college. They've taken their AP course, they're ready to go. Other kids are ready to go to a career school. Many kids are ready to go to a community college, and community colleges are ready to take them. A lot of remedial work to begin with. I'd like to talk about, I'd like to explore, is 12th grade an option? And so in the 12th grade, and a lot of parents, a lot of students, nothing goes on anyway in the 12th grade. But if you need it, then be there. But take that money we would save, and let's front load that into full day pre-K. So it's no additional cost on the system. We're not adding a year, we're starting a year earlier.
How does 11th grade then not just become the new 12th grade?
No.
This is like Spinal Tap.
No,
This one goes to 12. I'm trying to...
No, it's not that issue at all, because what we're doing is basically we have 11 grades of school now, okay? That stays the same, but we're going to front load it on the front. We're going to front load it on the front because that's where we make the most difference. We want to impact. What I'm talking about, Evan, again is, and some people will agree, some people disagree, but we cannot continue to have 1/3 to 50% of the future majority population in this state. We will lose our republic without an education.
Let me say again, Senator,
Right.
this is a significantly more upturned agenda for education than anything we heard. No disrespect to Senator Shapiro, but I wouldn't exactly describe what you're talking about as status quo or even status quo plus.
What I mean status quo is, there's a lot of talk about stepping back and accountability. A lot of people want to step back.
Right.
You can always look at it, make sure we're doing it right. Again, kids first. If it's good for the kids, we do it. If it's about the adults.
Are the STAR tests good for the kids, potential education chairman?
Yeah, I think the STAR tests are good, and I was one of the senators who did not want the grade point average in this first year. We changed that. That was just an error going back years ago. It was my first session. I think that bill passed, and that was not the intention of Senator Shapiro.
But generally speaking, the people who are so outraged about the concept of testing, you're not with them.
Look, no, I'm not outraged. I'm always willing to listen, but we have 1,000+ school districts. I'm not a guy, you hear this term local control. I believe in local responsibility. We have some great public schools. Both my children went to public school. We have some great public schools, and we have some really bad ones. And I don't think a child's future ought to be locked away and thrown away because they happen to live in the wrong zip code.
Right.
And that's what happens. I was at Sir Nino's charter school this week, and down in the end of my district, primarily Latino area, K through 8. And for people, and I always like to say this is on YouTube because charters are lotteries, okay? They're not hand-picked students. These are kids that come from everywhere. We have parents that drive their kids 25 miles one way. There's a contract with the charter school. If you're a parent, you have to have 5 meetings with the teacher. They go an extra hour. I think that's something we need to look at. An extra hour in the day potential. They go 3 weeks more a year. We need, whatever it is, Evan, we need the best and brightest minds from business,
right.
from teachers. My wife was a teacher for 12, 16 years.
Yeah.
I value teachers. We have great teachers, okay? They need to be lifted up and they need to be rewarded. If you're a good teacher doing a good thing, you need to be rewarded. Going back to a lot of our school districts, you start at $42,000, $45,000 a year, and after 20 years you're at 70. Whether you're a good teacher or you're a bad teacher, that's not the way a business runs. We need to train our principals, who are, in most cases, former teachers, to learn how to hire people, to learn how to interview people. You know, you look at some schools, in a good district, you have a bad school and a good school, it's because the principals hire the teachers. If a principal doesn't know how to interview and get the right person, you got a bad teacher. Why should those kids? So I'm telling you, we got to put our arms around this as an entire state at every level. Look, I don't even want to talk about this because I don't know who's going to be named chairman, and I'm not presuming anything.